This is a batch of wainscot. One side of it you can see is actually curly pine, but this is behind the washer dryer area. But down below you can see it is actually 5 inches wide. Half of it's plain. Here's a board right there, and half of it's beaded. The other stuff, 3/4 inch thick, still is 11 bead versus a 9 bead. And this is without paint. This whole batch in here, all the way down, and then on top has some paint on it. Some of that is even curly pine. Up above it, once you stand up here, you can see this. These are the plinth blocks. I have a bunch of these, as in 100 too, all in longleaf pine. Incredible grain. Never been painted. Virgins. These are virgins. I have several styles. This is the fancy style with a double bead. I have some of the baseboard in stock as well in this pattern. And you can see over here on the side an example of this in the wainscot. That's what we had going down the hallway, about 30 foot long. I don't have the full amount of that anymore, but I have a pretty good amount of it. So that's a really good example of beadboard. Okay? Try that. And then over here, I'll go around that way. So maybe I'll do this one now. We have it out. The way you can reach this box. This is also really good to sell for little pieces. If we're doing the eaves on the houses, remember? That's what we use, this kind of stuff. Bubble gum. And also for selling online, I used to sell a package of these, 5,000 square foot, so one package to ship them, one box, shirt box was $15 a box. Just cut them up on a saw. It takes about 3 minutes to cut them up all the right length and drop them in there, all the same colors. For doing signs and stuff like that, just sold packages. Okay, so this is T107. Go ahead and turn it on. So unlike most, this is T107, which is when we just started doing this, we went to T105. This is post-German siding, which I have some of the German siding in stock too. A lot of the beadboard that you'll see like this, we have, I have a lot of the shorter stuff and I have the longer stuff. This is all longleaf pine stock and beadboards. Some of the things we have, we'll have limited batches of, got some of the early trim, and I have tons of different kinds of trim, as well as the headers. This over here, this is the back side of the stack. We should look at this side. This is the beams and the would be your rafters over the top of a porch, 60 foot long. So that's the beam structure and all the longleaf pine rafters to go on it. It'd be about 10 foot out, and has all the bird's mouth and everything cut into those already. Now, when it comes down to the other lumber per se, this, for example, that's actually some unusual early siding, 8-inch tongue groove. This down here, you'll see some of that down there, tongue grooves and stuff like that, and wood from the early days. A lot of that was hand planed into that. So you see some of the ends on those, and they're long tongue groove, like over here on the top. That's very hard to find original stock. See that right there where I'm pointing in the middle, there you go. All that kind of stuff. Then behind you, turn it around. Watch your head. Okay. See on here, this is again longleaf pine, but above you, that's a floor. That's a 5-inch longleaf pine. High density, heavy. See how tight the rings are?
Oh, wow.
So that means that tree grew less than a 32nd of an inch in diameter that year. That's why this is
grooved. Look how.
So there you can see a stack right there, and look at the lengths on that. So that's a couple thousand square feet of flooring circa late 1800s, maybe mid 1800s. Then going up above it, all the beam stock, full dimension 2x, and some of that's monstrous. Look up there, you see 4x stock. And then in front of us is all 1x12 stock. And then as you get lower, some of that's even wider than just 12 inches.
In the middle there, yeah.
And then if you go down lower here, you see another layer of 1x12 at the very bottom. There's a long one. Same over here. You see again more 1x12 as you come up. Now some of this is older 1x12, and you see full dimension. This is the good stuff. This goes back to the 1870s even. And then on the bottom, look at the widths on some of that stock. 14 inches or better. Same here. Look at these. That's all stuff I pulled out of barns and stuff too. Longleaf pine, really wide and very unusual to find, and not all cupped and buckled. Again, shiplap spread in here again. Oh, some of the shiplap I have behind us, it's going to be on the floor. And look down here, for example. That's 4x12s running on the bottom.
Oh,
beams,
wow.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Those are not small. And then if you look behind us over here, more of this 1x12. But what's nice about this, again, you can see it's all batched together. This is a whole barn, all aged the same full thickness with the lichens rather.
Okay.
And then above that, you'll see again more of the profiles. You see some more trims, like there's a fat belly trim, door trims and stuff like that. Another batch of trims. And on the very bottom, again, more of the rustic but dimensional stock for using for floor joists. Somebody's doing original stuff, exposed for the second floor. Great for floor joists, for lofts. So all of this is, again, batches, more batches. Different types of trim. Some of this is, I don't like it, but it's classic. You see the trim patterns. That's a batch. I think too early, modern for my taste. But 50s, 40s. Again, though, when you look up on the side, what you're reading is look how many layers of tongue and groove. See the tongue groove? So the batches of flooring. Again, as we come around, so this direction.